and she's like that with me, you know, we'll do things. And then I took her to Burger King for a Whopper. And I can't eat Whoppers.
Right.
I had a double Whopper. Fries.
So I wanted to start with that statement by Juan because I thought it was such a perfect start to this video. You can hear the emotion in his voice when he's talking about the day before Maddie's birthday when he took her for burgers. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he's only her step-grandfather. This guy cared more for Maddie than her own mother did. And I'm going to come back to him in this video because him and Stephanie, Jenn's sister, both to me seem to have cared far more for Maddie than what Jenn ever did. So in this video, I want to address Jenn's lack of interest in searching for Maddie, because this is something that really, really grates on me in such a big way. If I was a parent and my child was missing, you wouldn't stop me from being out there searching. I mean, heck, I can remember many, many years ago, after I had my big dog for not very long, and long story short, I had a absolute cow of a neighbour who actually lured her onto her property, took her just to be spiteful, and called the council and had the dog ranger come and pick her up, which meant that I had to wait until the following Monday to collect her from the dog ranger. But in the meantime, I didn't know that was the situation. All I knew was that my dog had gone out into the yard and had vanished. And I traipsed the neighbourhood. I went into other people's properties thinking, I don't give a shit. Sorry, excuse the language. Thinking, I don't give a damn if you come at me for entering your property, because my dog is missing and I'm not going home till I find my dog. And I did that for several hours until it was getting dark, and then I had to go home. And that was my dog. That wasn't a child. And yet, what did Jenn do? Very little. So let's have a look at all that. But before we do, I'm actually going to start with a victim impact statement, because this is what a parent should do. So this comes from the Kristen Smart case. If you're not familiar with this case, Kristen Smart was a college student. She was 18 or 19. She was in her first year of college and she went missing. Now, it took 26 years, but the man responsible for her death, Paul Flores, was finally convicted about 2 years ago. And at the end of the trial, as they often do, they had victim statements from the whole family. And what I'm going to play is part of the statement made by Kristen's father. This was Stan Smart, her father. And to me, the reason I want to play this is that this family, Kristen's body still has not been found, or her remains have not been found. This family is still 26, 28 years on, still looking for their daughter. They never stopped. Jenn never started. So I'm going to just play Stan Smart's statement and then we'll go from there.
As a parent, you fall into a pit of despair and you
long to see her smile again. You become a risk taker. Since you are missing the child and that part of love for your family, you are willing to travel anywhere and to meet with anyone that thinks they have information regarding the whereabouts of your child. Prior to Kristen's disappearance, we were anticipating moving from Stockton to Napa, where I accepted a new principalship at Village High School. Now all of that energy was shifted to locating our missing daughter. My wife stayed in Stockton to respond to phone calls, and I spent the summer months in San Luis Obispo looking for my daughter's body.
That family put their lives on hold. They travelled all around the country to follow up on possible sightings of their daughter. Stan gave up a perfect job opportunity because it meant that he could not continue to search for his daughter outside of work hours. And unlike Jenn, who wanted to hide from the public, Denise quit her job so that she could actually deal with the public relations side of it, taking phone calls about her daughter's disappearance, speaking publicly about her daughter's disappearance, doing all the things that a normal parent would do when their child is missing. And Kristen was 19. Wasn't even like a little baby. I mean, okay, saying a little baby isn't quite right with Maddie, but you know what I mean. This whole family, their life became centred around finding their daughter. Jenn couldn't even dedicate one single day to searching for her daughter. Now, before I play the clips where Jenn is talking about searching, I'm going to play an interview or excerpts from an interview that was with Juan and Stephanie. So this audio comes from Gavin Fish. So a thank you to him for putting this out there. I will just comment, I do my best when I'm using other people's audio to try and edit out when they interrupt or talk over, but he has this habit of talking over audio quite often. So there's a few instances with these videos where information is lost if I can't, like if I try and remove him talking over the top of it. So I apologise for that. I am going to be working on putting in my own FOIA requests to try and get copies of this audio that I can then put into an uninterrupted video, because, well, aside from people talking over audio like this in their videos, it's also frustrating when you're looking for a particular clip and you have to search through a super long live stream for 20 seconds or 5 seconds of audio, and you've got to sift through a lot of yada as well, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, isn't it? So we should probably get on with it. So let's listen to what Juan and Stephanie had to say.
Okay, so you
all,
guys
like, the
have
known
spoken
stuff.
with the detective?
Very, very little, but yes.
She was trying to reach somebody, and what did you call them?
Detective Hunt.
Okay,
Just
gotcha.
to see, and
We just want to be kept informed.
Yeah, no,
I feel like we
100%.
haven't heard anything. Like in 2 days, it's been nothing.
Now, obviously they're not talking directly about the search, and I apologise for the audio. It's certainly not the greatest quality. But what was going on there was that Stephanie and Juan were basically saying, we're not being kept in the loop. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what you guys are doing. they're essentially busting their balls, or the detectives' balls, saying, we want to know what you're doing. You know, they are concerned. They are genuinely concerned for Maddie. And they want to know what measures are being taken to find her. When did we ever hear this from Jenn? We never heard this from Jenn. We never heard this from Stefan. We also never heard this from Chris or Deb.
How do we go about maybe getting a fund me or a reward or something? Maybe somebody saw something and they'll come out and honestly say, you know what?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
If you're trying to do it on a level as like a GoFundMe for the family, that's something that you guys have to do. Yeah, we can't participate in that.
Right. But do you have anything else?
We're working on our end to see. So there's certain criteria that has to be met.
What about I know you guys did like a search yesterday. What can we do, like a search? Like,
so it's best. It's best that you don't right now because we are continuing our search.
So here they are asking about how would we go about creating a GoFundMe to provide a reward to try and get people to come forward with information. And then Stephanie's like, can we go out and search ourselves? Can we do that? It's never ever been a suggestion by Jenn. Certainly, there was never any suggestion from her of, oh, can we do a GoFundMe, or how can we put a reward in place for information? Never ever was any of that said. Stephanie and Juan sound like they're talking about their own child, not Jennifer's child. Jennifer sounds totally disinterested. So let's jump in and hear what Jenn had to say in terms of searching.
And then you guys went looking for her, right?
Yes.
Where did you look? Like, did you drive somewhere? Did you walk? Like, where did you go look for her?
Okay. So, after her best friend called me, actually, or I talked to her best friend on the phone, I went back to the school to see, let me check her official attendance. Let me see what's going on. They were already closed. Nobody was at the school. So I searched by backtracking into the school and then coming back out and seeing that there were no kids at the school at all. So then I drove office. Everything was driving. And then I think that response from her teacher at that point. But,
So you notice that at the end of all that spiel, she pauses. She does the classic Soto sigh twice. And I think that's because she realises that she's essentially said that she's done nothing to search for her child. She realises, after all that's come out of her mouth, that it's pretty pathetic. That's a pretty pathetic effort. Now, so many of us have debated whether or not she actually did return to the school. Because, to be honest, it sounds like way too much effort for Jenn, doesn't it? So, I was cynical about whether or not she had returned to the school or not. It seemed out of character for her. And it also seemed convenient for her to have happened to have returned to the school after everyone was gone and the place was all closed up. Now, listening to Yolanda's interview, we actually get a different picture of that. So let's hear what Yolanda had to say.
Jennifer would have come here yesterday to see if she had maybe
she
come here.
yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what Jennifer told you yesterday?
No, she's like waiting here at school, but she doesn't come out. She's not. I don't think she's here. Maybe she walked to school to the office, and I was like, okay, I'll wait here. It was 4:30, 4:35, 4:40, and she never showed up.
Okay.
So get it to school, but the office were closed. It was only the after program, they were open. So we went to verify to the school and the program. She didn't. While we went to the school, Jennifer called 2 friends that she has, and they told her that she never made it to school.
Got it.
That's when we find out everything.
So now we're hearing that Yolanda went to the school, possibly with Jenn, but I'm questioning whether it was Yolanda with another family member or Yolanda with Jenn, because Yolanda says while we went to the school, Jenn phoned Maddie's friends. To me, that suggests that in fact Jenn didn't go with Yolanda to go back to the school, and that Jenn maybe just sat on her ass in the office and went, yeah, you go and search at the school. I've already been there, I don't need to return. It is possible though, you can tell that Yolanda possibly spends more time speaking Spanish, so it's possible that I'm just misinterpreting her use of English. But it certainly makes me question if Jenn went with Yolanda back to the school. We know for certain Yolanda went back to the school with somebody, went in and checked out the after school activities. Maddie wasn't there. Either way, I'm going to say that this bit of heading back to the school to check was never Jenn's idea. Sounds like Jenn lets her family do all the hard work while she sits on her ass and does nothing. You have Stephanie asking about, can we do this search? Can we start a GoFundMe? You have Yolanda leading the charge, heading back to the school to look for Maddie. And we don't even know if Jenn was with Yolanda when she went back to the school.
But yeah, no, we did not come back home until we were done with the police. We were done with everything. There was nothing else for us to do.
Okay, I have to say, every time I hear her say that, my blood boils. This was continuation of the detective had asked her, did you do any searching for Maddie? And she gave this story, like you heard, about going back to the school. And then there was also the whole anxiety thing of, stress, poor me. And then here she is saying that basically after the detectives had spoken to them at her mother's office, they went back home because there was nothing else to do. You're kidding me, right? I'm sorry, but to me, the natural response would be, after the detectives were gone, we were finally free to go and search again. They had to wait, 2 hours for people to turn up at that office? More than 2 hours, I think it was. Because they were otherwise engaged. They were talking to them they were there for another hour. So, to me, the logical thought process would be, we've just lost 3 hours of search time. I know it's dark, but can we just go and walk the area near the school? Let's go back to where you dropped her off and just see if there's any clues. Because we know that she didn't go to school. There must be clues. We're not going home. We're going to go and search. But no, that's not what you hear from Jenn. We had nothing else to do. We went home. Because Jenn obviously needed to go home and have some food and take her meds and get another good night's sleep.
Real quick, I don't remember if Detective Tagler asked, but yesterday when you guys were out looking, do you remember what time you were out looking till?
So yesterday, I stayed in the office. My family went out searching.
You can pretty much predict what's coming when you hear that Soto sigh. She gave the Soto sigh, then the long pause, before she admitted that I stayed in the office. My family went out searching. And she's so matter-of-fact about it. Like, why wouldn't you do that? You know, why would I go searching when my family can do it for me? Just the tone of her voice there shows that she's so unconcerned over searching for her own child. Your child is missing, and you're just going to sit in your mother's office and let your family go searching for her. Honest to goodness, there's something seriously wrong with that woman.
Oh, I guess that's something we wanted to throw by you, or maybe I already did, I'm not sure.
Maybe.
But a search party thing, but we didn't want to get in the way of you guys, and you guys have already scoured the woods multiple times, so like that's the only place I would think of searching, right? So we don't want to do that. I think we're talking about like maybe posting like a vigil of some sort or something, just.
So time-wise, that actually occurred after the conversation that Stephanie had with officers, where she had asked, can we go out searching? And they essentially said to her, at this point in time, we'd prefer you didn't, because we don't want you guys disturbing evidence or something like that. Jenn is trying to sound like the concerned parent. We thought about going searching, but we don't want to get in your way. Bullcrap, Jenn. You never thought about searching, and that's just a convenient excuse. And if you had considered a vigil, I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that that was something suggested by Stephanie, not by you. Because she's such a sloth that she wouldn't follow through with anything like that. Words are fine, but there's no action behind the words.
So let me ask you this. Where all have you looked for Maddie?
I haven't looked anywhere. I've stayed while we were at home. While we were allowed to be at home, I stayed at home just in case she would come back. For somebody to be home while she was back. Okay. And for now, since I haven't been able to go back home, I've been at my sister's house just hiding out. I don't want to be seen in public.
She just proved that she was lying. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but this woman just does my head in, I swear to goodness. She's saying on one hand that while she was still at home, she stayed at home just in case Maddie came home. Well, that seemed highly unlikely by the time you were into 24 hours later, because obviously they went home after meeting with detectives the night before. The next day, 24 hours later, you would think that probably your child is not going to just saunter into the house. But regardless of that, while she's trying to make it sound like she's the concerned mum and she's staying home just in case her child comes home, she then turns around and says that after that, when she was staying at her sister's place, she stayed there because she didn't want to be seen in public. Now, obviously, Maddie wasn't going to just return to her sister's place. Logically, if she was going to return anywhere, she would return home. But Jenn wasn't saying, I stayed at my sister's place just in case she came home then. No. She stayed at her sister's place because she didn't want to be seen in public. So, she's completely lying here. Note too, that when she says that she stayed at her sister's place, she's not like, oh, but I kept checking just in case she'd gone back to the apartment or anything like that. No, the thought of Maddie returning to the apartment has gone from her head completely now. Her only concern is looking after Jenn, keeping Jenn out of the public eye, so she's just going to hide at her sister's place and hope that somebody might find her daughter. This woman is despicable.
But I haven't, back to your question, I haven't gone out looking for her because I don't know where to search, and the only place I thought of where to search would be Shingle Creek behind her school because of the whole woods comment, but you guys have been doing that and I didn't want to get in the way of that.
So that's actually the same interview. After talking about being at her sister's place and not being seen in public, she went on with the long spiel about the person at the gate at the apartments recognising her and how awful she felt and yada yada yada. All, poor Jenn, yada yada. But then she's like, and, going back to your question, I haven't been out searching because I didn't know where to search. If your child's missing, you're going to search the entire damn county. You're going to think about the possibilities of where she might have gone. You're not going to have a blank mind. And then she's like, oh, I thought about Shingle Creek, but you guys have already done that. Heck, that wouldn't stop me. I'd be in there searching. Did you even send anyone to search there when you were waiting for detectives while you were sitting on your bum at your mother's office the other night? No. She never tried to search anywhere in the area of where Maddie was dropped off. And then she claims, I wouldn't know where to search. Well, search in the area where supposedly she was last seen, Jenn. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. All she's doing, every time she's asked about searching, she comes up with a new excuse. And all of them are pretty piss poor.
It's just, I've been feeling overwhelmed with the attention, and I just need to, preserve my mental health. I just have to stay home and...
So, you may or may not have picked up because there isn't other comments there to compare it with, but you had her in the lowered voice there because she probably realised that what she's saying is a load of crap. She's basically saying that she was putting her mental health first, so she had to stay home. Basically, her mental health was far more important to her than finding her child. And in fact, at the end of that, when she says, so I had to stay home, she says it even more quietly than what she's already speaking at. This woman really is a piece of work. She never once considered searching for her child.
He told me he was going to go out cruising that night to go look for her. And I said, I even questioned that. I asked him, are you sure it's a good idea? You should probably sit tight. Let's just wait to see if she comes home.
Now, there was an interview that was done with Anna Williams, who was the mother of Abby Williams, one of the girls in the Delphi case. Now, this interview was done with Anna not long after the girls were found. And Anna said she was talking about when they were, the night that people were out searching. And she said that when Becky Patty said to her that Libby was scared of the dark, then she started to panic because she was worried, because she realised there must be something really wrong for those girls to be out in the dark and not come home. Likewise, same case, when they announced that they were calling off the search at like midnight, Becky Paddy was beside herself because she was worried about the girls being cold out there overnight. She didn't want the search to be called off because she was so concerned about the girls being cold and not being able to get warm wherever they were. Now we know that at that point in time the girls were deceased. But two parents, because essentially Becky was Libby's parent, she raised her, even though she was her grandmother, two parents who were so concerned because their kids were out in the dark and they knew that was a problem. And yet when Stefan wants to go out driving at night, Jen's like, well, no, you probably shouldn't do that. Heck yeah. Like, what parent says that? No, you probably shouldn't go out searching. Let's just wait and see if she comes home. What? Is she going to come home in darkness in the middle of the night? No. You should be utterly beside yourself at that point in time. And honestly, how can you even sleep? If it was me, I wouldn't be able to go home until after I had walked every area in that neighbourhood of the school to see where she might have been, to see if there were clues. If someone had said to me, I'm going to go out and have another look, I'd be like, thank you so much. But no, Jen's like, you probably shouldn't do that. That is so wrong.
Can he tell you where he looked?
I think he said up and down 192, and I said, why there? And he's like, I don't know, I'm just looking. I was just trying to look anywhere. And I'm just like, okay.
Did he say if he found anything or talked to anybody? Or just roamed?
Yeah, roamed.
Seriously, someone goes out looking for your child and your response is, well, why did you look there? That is just ridiculous. Why not look there? Why not look everywhere that you could possibly look? You know, at that point in time, supposedly, she didn't know if her daughter had been abducted. She didn't know where her daughter could be. She'd said in other interviews that she had no idea where to look. So why then turn around and say, well, why search there? Like he's doing something bad. We know he was doing something bad. But in terms of searching, why would you make it a negative thing that someone was out in the middle of the night searching for your child, if that's what you genuinely believe they were doing? Nothing this woman has said makes me think that she had any concern for her daughter. Nothing that she said makes me think that she believed that her daughter was out there to be found. So often in the cases where parents have been involved with a child's death, the big giveaway is them not going out to search. I think Jen's utter ambivalence when it comes to searching, to me, points to guilty knowledge. She knew there was no reason to go out searching because Maddie wasn't there to be found. Whether or not she knew the exact location that Maddie was, we can only speculate, but she certainly didn't believe that Maddie was going to be found anywhere near the school. She didn't believe that Maddie had been abducted. She didn't believe that it was necessary to go out searching for her daughter because her daughter was already deceased and she'd already written her off. I know that sounds callous, but when you look at what Jenn has said, and when you listen to her constant references to the body, not even Maddie's body, but her references to the body, this woman is cold as. She knew her daughter wasn't coming home before she even called the police, or before Stephanie even called the police. That's my belief. Now, I know this is a somewhat shorter video than usual, but I did want to really take a look at Jenn's comments around searching and just show how cold and disinterested she was. And I also want to spend a bit more time going through other audio that I've got from the other day. You may have missed my comment in yesterday's video. I think it was yesterday's video. I basically went down a major rabbit hole the other day looking at audio that showed, in my opinion, that Jenn was guilty. Ended up with well and truly over an hour's worth of audio, which is now coming out in multiple videos because obviously it was too much to discuss in one go. So this is from that, and I thought it was something that needed to be looked at on its own. So thanks for listening. If you are new, please subscribe to my channel, help me to grow my channel. Also, please hit the like button. That gets my videos out there into the algorithm, gets them seen by more people, gets Maddie's story out to more people. And of course, please leave a comment below. I'm really loving reading everyone's comments. There's some really, really great comments that are happening under all my videos. And yes, I do my best to read everyone's comments. I do my best to reply to as many comments as possible, because you guys totally rock. Now, I might just mention, if you're feeling a bit shortchanged because of this being a shorter video, I do have a somewhat extensive Maddie Soto playlist on my channel, so I will leave the link for that below, and feel free to go back over any videos that you may have missed, because I've covered so many different topics to do with this case. And with that, thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one.
I think